I asked you guys if you had any questions for me. And when I was typing out my little community post, I realized I have never done a Q&A in my 4 years of being a content creator, almost 5 actually. I feel like no one's gonna have that many important questions, but to my surprise, you guys actually had a lot of really interesting and diverse questions. So I'm gonna be scrolling through them and picking some of my favorites and be a little bit vulnerable and let you guys get to know me and like my life a little bit better. Let's jump into it. Stay hydrated. Grab your lunch if I'm your lunch YouTube video. Let's get to it. What is a book or books that you couldn't stop thinking about after you finished reading? Much love and love for the bookish content as of late. That's so sweet that that's like one of the top ones. The first book that comes to mind is a book called The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. I read it very recently. It's a series of short stories that are all connected, and it's about multiple expeditions to Mars. It has like alien encounters. Sometimes it's from the perspective of Martians, sometimes from humans. There's a lot of obviously sci-fi elements, but there's also a lot of social commentary, government, social class. It touches on things like colonization, how human beings deal with things that are different than them. Really good, very harrowing, I guess. Yeah, I kind of just stared at a wall after I finished reading it. As a frog enjoyer myself, what drew you to frogs specifically? This is a weirdly long-term answer. I actually really liked frogs when I was in like 6th grade. I had a birthday party when I turned 12, and it wasn't frog themed or anything, but literally every girl who came, it was a sleepover party, every girl who came to my birthday party brought me like a frog related gift. It was like that much a part of my personality. I couldn't tell you why I've never had frogs as a pet. I actually had lizards, leopard geckos. Honestly, I think it just started because I bought this for probably like $3 and I wore it in a someone's video, and then it just became, it was like peak early Genshin. Yeah, I just became the frog hat girl. Kind of weird how it circled back like that. But yeah, I've never had a frog. I feel like I need to actually. Maybe when we buy a house. Are you planning on playing other games like the Beginner's Guide or Before Your Eyes soon? Yes. What really got me into gaming again as an adult was, well, Animal Crossing for one, but also short-term, story-driven, emotionally rich games like the ones that you mentioned. Omori is my favorite game ever. Obviously a bit longer than the 2 you mentioned. I love indie games because I love seeing someone fully execute their vision and the story that they want to tell. I love getting to connect with developers and the storytellers behind those games after posting content about it. So that has happened before. I just love the artistry of it and the personal component of gaming storytelling. So the answer to that is yes. You can always go to my side dish channel to see if I've been playing something like that. Also, my VOD channel has some like random games on there too. Have you regretted wailing on a character? If so, who is it? Can you guess? Sino. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He was so cool. He seemed so cool, but then I got him and I played him, and that's the play style just fell flat for me. I don't know. I think I overestimated, and I wailed hard. I wailed hard on that banner, but it turned out to be a pretty popular YouTube video, so maybe it was kind of worth it. What made you decide on your current career? Asking as a teen who graduated high school and is confused. Love your videos. I didn't decide on it actually. So before I started making YouTube videos, or even before that TikToks, I was a marketing director at a really small t-shirt company. We like worked with schools and churches and companies to do kind of like event t-shirts, camp t-shirts, stuff like that. It was a great job. I really liked it, but COVID hit, and that company, who was largely built on events, suddenly, there were no events. So there was no orders. Obviously they didn't have the budget to market, and it probably wouldn't have been worth it to spend budget on marketing. I over time got let go eventually, which was scary, but it was also at the same time that I had started a full send into creative and also gaming content. Obviously, I use a lot of the skills that I gained from marketing in my current work, but I could have never anticipated this happening. I couldn't have anticipated gaming making a resurgence in my life in such a profound, life-changing way. I saw something recently talking about success. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it read something like, it's always a combination of luck and strategy. And I think that was the case for me. I don't know if you were like necessarily cognizant of this. In 2020, when we were all on lockdown, so many content creators popped up out of nowhere because obviously everyone was online. People were more invested in virtual hobbies. Streaming became really popular. YouTube, gaming, had a whole new wave of CCs. TikTok also. It was a ripe environment to start become a content creator. But a lot of people later on have kind of faded away or sputtered out in some type of way or just moved their career in a different direction. No, not faulting that at all. But for me, I observed that I was, I kind of hit gold with Genshin. Then I did the absolute best with it that I could. And I think life is like that a lot of the time. You don't necessarily know what you like or what you want to do until you've experienced it, until you've taken a class that maybe you weren't expecting, or a class that you didn't expect to like, or you pick up a hobby from someone because they recommended it to you. Things that become important to you can start in such a small way. So the best advice I could give you as far as translating my life path to you as something that you could look at is take advantage of the interest that you have and don't think of anything as like not worth pursuing. If you like it, if you feel passion towards something, see where it goes. Just see where it goes. You really never know. And then when you find something that really speaks to you and you think you're good at, pour your heart into it. Don't expect success right away. Also, not to be all soapboxy, there's not only one box that you fit into. I was a good marketing director. Before that, I was also a really good social media manager. And now I think I'm a good content creator. All of those things were connected. And I think, save if COVID had never happened, obviously my life would be very different. But I think I still would have had a meaningful career path, a lifetime ago in my past life, so to speak. It's never too late. Trust your gut, work hard, find out what you love and pursue it. Who's your favorite Pokemon? Based on my background, you might assume that my favorite Pokemon is Umbreon. But if you inspect a little closer, you'll see that there's lots of round, squishy, bulbous plushies. My actual favorite Pokemon is Chansey. How did you and your husband meet? You two are cute together. I was dating someone at the time that I met Joshua. And Joshua was friends with that boyfriend at the time, his sister. And through a long series of events, so I became friends with my boyfriend's sister and subsequently spent a decent amount of time in groups with Joshua. I always enjoyed being around him. What I remember most about that time period and my perception of him was whenever he talked, everyone wanted to listen. He never just talked just to talk, always very purposeful with his words, and his words were always worth listening to. I always felt like I just understood him, and in the small few interactions that we had, he understood me. Once me and that old boyfriend had broken up, me and Joshua met again because I reached out to him on Instagram. I slid in his DMs to try to set him up with someone else. From that, started talking, and we texted, and we kind of just never stopped talking. Obviously, I never set him up with that friend, and then I married him. Oh, I should also say, when I first met him, the very first time we all hung out together, me and that ex-boyfriend's sister, she brought me to someone's house and he was there. And he says that when I walked in the door, he looked at me and he goes to his friend, and Joshua says, "Whoa." And then his friend, as a joke, goes, "Dude, are you gonna marry that girl?" And Joshua says, yeah. And then subsequently, very soon after that, found out that I was already dating somebody. But yeah, it all worked out in the end. It all worked out, and there was no foul play. For anyone who might be looking for something juicy, there was no foul play. Okay. Did you meet all of your Genshin friends through Genshin, or did you know some of them before streaming? Example, Jake and Atsu. No, I met all of them online, all brand new. All of us came together because of some gacha game. I feel very grateful for that. Thoughts on the storytelling of both Genshin and HSR so far? I think this is true for both Genshin and HSR. I always feel like the quests, once I'm done with them, especially the more recent stuff, it's always worth it when I'm finished with a quest. I'm always like, oh, that was so great. But there are times in the middle parts where it just feels like I'm reading a lot and I'm getting a lot of information out of context that I don't necessarily know what to do with. But I think looking specifically at Genshin, they've cut a lot of excess from their stories. The more recent story quests for characters have been excellent. They're not necessarily shorter, but there's not as much filler, where I felt like there was filler in the older quests. I do have lots of gripes though. One of them is the fact that limited event quests don't get archived somewhere so that new players can play them. Example, the Albedo winter quests. The fact that new players can't access those and they're like integral to who Albedo is, and also the greater like world building of Mondstadt, the witches and stuff, and Conria, it bothers me greatly. HSR, I think, has started off a bit stronger, which is not surprising, you know, newer game, have had more time to learn from Genshin and player feedback. What's the most memorable moment / memory you cherish the most that you've had in Genshin since you started playing? It has to be when the Lyre first came out. This is also one of my most popular TikTok YouTube shorts ever. After the first, I think it was a Windbloom event, when the harp item became accessible, someone joined my world as Albedo and played the full Dragonspine theme. It was so beautiful. It was completely unexpected. It was very wholesome like player to player moment, and that person who co-opted into my world ended up finding that video on TikTok and like we connected after that. So that's cool, and also I'll just be forever grateful to that person because that TikTok, even though I was just a recipient of that like moment, that TikTok I think helped kind of put me on the map as a Genshin creator. So we're doing nothing. Always remember that. I really love your idea of never being afraid to branch out, and I'm curious if you have something you'd like to do on your channels but for some reason don't. If so, what is it and why? I'm going to take this question as an opportunity to kind of update you guys on just my content sphere. I don't know if it's been necessarily perceptible on this channel, but I have been rediscovering myself as a content creator. Of course, most people know me for Genshin, for Hoyoverse content, but fun fact, if you followed me on TikTok before I reached 100,000 followers, you probably remember that most of my content was not gaming. It was actually what I coined or what I called my inner monologues, and it was a series of videos that I did where I would essentially write a short memoir, or somewhere between a memoir and a journal entry, and I would record a voiceover and I would record a related video. And I would, do subtitles and stuff. And it was just a way for me to express myself and connect just with common human experiences. The most common comment I would get on videos like that are, I've always felt this way, but I've never known how to put it into words. My early career was really all based on communication, vulnerability. And when I blew up on Genshin, it was very shocking and it was very overwhelming. All good. I don't regret it at all because it's allowed me to get to this point in my career. I have benefited so much from that decision and from hard sending into Genshin. However, I think in that process, I, to some degree, stopped being my true self online. I kept things a lot more, I don't want to say PR, because that's not quite right. I just put like a tamper on my personality and didn't necessarily let that vulnerable part of me out as much as I used to. And I just became only a gaming creator. And in the last couple months, I realized that I have so much more in my heart and so much more that I want to do that extends far beyond gaming, and I don't want to be afraid to do that anymore. I have a creative channel which I've going to start doing book content. I've gotten really into reading. I also started like the drawing series a few years ago. I do other games. I'm doing more vlogs. I'm doing more just stuff from the heart. I started another TikTok account so that I could just spill out instead of everything being doctored and just only my stream persona. That's not to say that my gaming content isn't me. It definitely is, but it's only a part. So this is probably a good time for me to tell you that things on this channel are definitely going to shift gears. And it does mean there might be a lower frequency of videos, but the videos that I put out, I want to be proud of all of them. And I want them to be me, and I want them to be a gift to you guys. I really think content creation is a service. My job is to, in some way, make your life better. And I take so much joy in that you've allowed me to be in your life, however much and however long. I appreciate it so much, and I want to make good on like what I've promised to you essentially. You might see kind of a surprising type of video coming out on this channel. If you want to watch it, awesome. If you don't, that's totally fine. I still love gaming. That is a huge part of my life, and that's not going away. I want to be more truly myself, and I think I have more to offer you than just gaming content. What was your dream job before getting into content creation? I wanted to teach English in Korea. I got enticed by the K-wave and K-drama and K-pop, and I spent actually a year and a half hardcore studying Korean. I still have some of it in the back of my head. Sometimes I can watch K-dramas without the subtitles, or I pick up like 40%, probably more like 30% now of what I'm listening to. That dream just kind of faded. I couldn't really explain why that was. That was a very weird time in my life because I thought I had it all figured out and I didn't. And I thought I had it all figured out when I was doing marketing, and then my life totally shifted again. So that shift of being so certain that I wanted to teach English abroad, I think it taught me the flexibility that I needed to be able to handle another transition later in life, and I'm sure another transition even later in life. If you could choose any world region from HSR or Genshin to live in, what would it be and why? Mondstadt. I love Mondstadt. Mondstadt fills me with gladness that I can't fully verbalize. Also, I need to know if there are toilets in Teyvat because I've never seen one, and I need to know if Genshin Impact made a Teyvat toilet asset. Were you in musical theater or anything like that when you were younger? Not theater, but I was in the choir, and I did have one big solo in high school, the solo in Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Messed up with the key because I learned the original Judy Garland version, and I realized that's not the one that was in the sheet music. What was your first video game as a child, and what drew you into trying different games? My first video game as a child was Kirby's Dream Land, the Game Boy version. It was in black and white. It was cheap. You know, I had a blue Game Boy. I still have it actually. That was one of the games that we could afford to get. I did beat it. I beat it. Favorite teas, recommendations, favorite methods for making tea. I used to make chai every day, and I still make it from time to time, but my go-to tea right now is a jasmine green tea latte with oat milk. Tips? Just don't oversteep the tea. Make sure you check the temperature and check how many minutes the tea needs to be steeped for. I make lattes at home. We have like a professional setup at home for reasons, but there are ways to steep milk at home even without. But yeah, jasmine's really good. I also really like black tea with lavender. Yeah, I drink a lot of milk lattes. Do you have any siblings? Also, I would love if your podcast with your dad came back. I binged all of it a few months ago and I really enjoyed it. Any plans to bring it back? Yes, I have one little sister. Her name is Melissa. She's also a content creator.
Oh, shit.
Just you gotta be gentle, that's it. Okay.
Podcast. Is it possible that at the time of filming this, I'm planning a podcast return with Joshua? Is it possible that we've purchased equipment specifically for recording podcasts? Nobody knows. I guess you'll have to stay tuned. How do you feel being mostly known for Genshin content? Do you wish for other things as well? Yes, I've already answered that question basically. Yes, and I'm taking that entirely into my own hands. I do not begrudge that I'm known for Genshin Impact because that is a result of a lot of good timing, but also hard work. I do believe that I'm capable of being known for other things, and that is a personal challenge to myself. What inspired you to be a Kaeya main? His lore has always been really, really interesting to me. The found family trope and the emotional charge of his family situation has always meant a lot to me. Also, blue hair man. Have you ever finished a degree? Yes, I have a bachelor's degree. Who were your inspirations and role models when you were becoming a content creator? A great exercise that I don't remember who I learned it from regarding how to find yourself as a content creator is and like what you have to offer. Look at who you watch and what you like about them. What I found was that the content creators that I liked, I actually had a lot in common with. Therefore, if I could see qualities in them that I could see in myself, then that means there's an audience for me. So some of those were Jenna Marbles, Miss Her Everyday, PewDiePie, Marcia, who's also not making YouTube content anymore. Brittany Broski now is one that I really like, but I wouldn't say she necessarily inspired me then. However, she has inspired me to be more honest and vulnerable. That is very much true. Cody Cole, Julian Solomita as well. There's definitely more that are not coming to mind right now. It was easy to see commonalities between myself and those CCs. Have you ever done a cosplay before? How long did it take you? Yes, I've actually done 2 cosplays, one of which is a vlog that is coming. I cosplayed Yoimiya at TwitchCon 2 years ago, and then I cosplayed as Arwen from Lord of the Rings. The Yoimiya one was pretty easy. I think it took me about an hour and a half or so. The Arwen one took a lot more early prep work. Like I had to get the proper hair extensions and like braid them correctly, and had to learn how to do her makeup, and the dress had to get taken in because I can only find a large size. I really enjoyed both times, and I think I would like to do cosplays more in the future. What I didn't do the first time and what I kind of started doing the second time was kind of getting more into the cosplay culture of kind of embodying the character that you're playing, like in the way that you carry yourself and in the way that you respond to people. Like when we cosplayed at WonderCon, people were running up to my dad and yelling Gandalf, and he had like lines locked and loaded to say, and people were running up to him asking, can we pass? And he'd do the whole, you shall not pass, or you can pass. But he mastered Gandalf's cadence really well, and I think that really improved the experience of people who were coming up to say hi. So I was taking cues from him. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can embody the elegance, fierce Arwen at least a little bit. How come your name is Dish? What's the origin behind it? So my real name is Dara. My friend, my Gabby,
Count.
To answer
called me Dish Rag, just as like a derogatory, cute nickname. I can't fully explain it. There's a G in there. There's a G. And there's D's in both names. It just kind of stuck, and when I downloaded TikTok, the username Dishrag happened to be available. I took it. Didn't intend to start making content at the time, but I did, and I do, and here we are. So it kind of means nothing, but it's a gift from Gabby. What are your ambitions in life, perhaps other than content? How do you plan to pursue them? I think one of my biggest ambitions in life is just to have a home that I am proud of, a home that is like managed well. I like where we live now. We live in an apartment. We have definitely outgrown it, and with my busyness and Joshua's busyness, it's a lot of work to upkeep and to keep it from getting cluttered. So I would love someday to buy a house and have a greenhouse and to have a like actually functioning garden outside that grows vegetables and fruits, and to have a house that is just ready to have people over and to host, and assuming we have children someday, that it's a wonderful place to grow up. So that's a big one, and obviously we will come at a later time when I have less work to do. That's more of a personal life goal. But another one is tied to Joshua. He has dreams of potentially opening like a coffee comic shop, a hybrid of both, and I would love to be a part of that with him. Did you ever imagine that streaming would become a career for you when you initially started out? No, I'm extremely shy and I never anticipated that. Do you plan to play Genshin until it ends? Yes, I do. I'm halfway through already, I gotta see how it ends. What season makes you the most motivated? I think probably fall, or like somewhere in between spring and fall. I do like summer, and I do also like winter, but winter is like a hibernate season for me. I just like to sleep, and it's not enough sunlight, and I'm battling seasonal depression, and I'm just trying to stay active and motivated at least a little bit. Winter is not a great productivity season for me, and spring, there's a lot of allergies. When it's like fall weather, I'm ready to go. I'm working. How do you cope with burnouts? I think I've better come to fully understand that I am never one person all the time. My ambitions and what I like spending my time doing, that naturally fluctuates, and that's not a bad thing. Especially with creative pursuits, you can't expect yourself to be 100% motivated all the time. Obviously, if it's your job, you have to push through it to some degree. If I've lost interest in something or I've lost motivation for something, there's usually a reason. So I spend time really trying to dissect my emotions towards something. There's been times where I've been able to pinpoint a specific problem, especially with content. It's like, oh, well, maybe I'm not really proud of the videos that I'm making. Maybe I need to work with an editor to make products that are closer to what I really like. Maybe I have monetized or tried to monetize or contentify something too early that should have just stayed a hobby. So usually there's a reason I can pinpoint. And if not, I just take a break. Go where your heart leads to some degree. How was your childhood and school days? My childhood was good in almost every way. The only thing that was really hard was friendships. I don't think I really had truly good friends until I was about halfway through high school, and I'm so grateful for those people and what they meant to me and what they still mean to me. I don't see them very often, but I'm like texting with one of them today, and they will always be important to me no matter how much time has passed and where we're all at in our lives. I definitely still carry some of the baggage or not being able to stick with a group of friends for a long time, or feeling like I wasn't wanted in a friend group. Definitely still feel the repercussions of that, but I'm healing. I'm conscious of it. I see the habits that I have, like a self-preservation habits that I have because of that, and I'm working to not let it control me and make decisions outside of that. Otherwise, my childhood was wonderful. My parents are great. A lot of you have already interacted with them or seen them in some way. I played sports. I did ballet. My parents never, obviously within reason, within budget, they let me pursue what I was interested in. And same goes for my sister. Yeah. My childhood was awesome. Are there any artists that inspire you? Would you consider yourself to be an artistic person? Yes and yes. So many. An artist I've been paying attention to more lately is an artist who goes by Peach, or her name is Peach Momoko. She mostly does comic book art, so Joshua introduced me to her work, and she works mostly with watercolor, which I just think is such an impressive medium. The person who made my art, my merch, Elia, she's very inspiring to me. Omocat is extremely inspiring to me. Anyone who's ever so graciously put me in a fan art who inspire me too. Lately, I'm just inspired by the variety of artists and how many different styles there are and how each of them are fantastic in their own right. It's encouraging to see that there's not just one way to do something, not just one way to be great at something. If you were to go back to college for another degree or to pursue more advanced study, what would you get? I'd probably go to an art school, to be honest. I think the structure of art school would help me actually do it. I think I would pursue some kind of art masters or something. I don't even know if that's a thing. What's your favorite story ever? Could be a book, show, etc. Little Women. It's always going to be Little Women. It's so profound. I almost can't start talking about it because I won't stop. That book was so clearly written by a woman about women in a truthful, meaningful, diverse, earnest way. I could literally start crying just talking about it or thinking about it. And all of the different things that women deal with and experience, and how each woman is unique, but also we're together and we're the same in so many ways. It's wonderful. You should read it. You should read it. Omori is probably a close second. Actually, I just got the 3-year anniversary limited print in the mail. I should open it. There's a letter. It's signed. Is that real? No, it's not. It's printed. Dang it. It's not Omaka. I mean, it is her signature, but make what you love. That is magnificent. 882 out of 1,000. Wonder if Jake got one. I'm gonna have to ask him and then brag if he didn't. What do you know about Algeria? I'm a fan from Algeria, and I'm really curious on how you would react if you knew you had fans in Algeria. I know exactly nothing about Algeria. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even know what continent it's on. North Africa. I knew it was North Africa. I should have just said it. I have many fans from Algeria? There's no way. I'm about to check my YouTube analytics right now. I hate to break it to you, but Algeria is not even in the top 50. But you're from Algeria, dear user. So that counts as many to me. Do you think you'll make content about Genshin forever? No. What is your favorite nostalgia game you like to play time to time for fun? Nintendogs. How do you balance work life, streamer life with real life? With difficulty, I'm not gonna lie. It's a work in progress. I've gotten better at it. My screen time is lower, but I always have to remind myself that it's just a job. Streaming is just a job, and I love it. I'll keep doing it, but it's not the end of the world. What's a song you wouldn't mind listening to every day? What's Love Got to Do With It by Tina Turner? It's not even my favorite song of all time. I wouldn't mind listening to it every day. Oddest, most nostalgic item in your room? Ooh, this is my childhood blanket. I don't know what else to say other than that. Every night before bed, I would have a checklist of 4 things that I needed. That would be Binky, Baby, Shweepy, Pillow. It was Binky, obviously. Baby, which is a baby doll that I have, but I don't know where it is. And then this was Shweepy. This is Pillow. She's a little dirtier. unfortunately, than Shweepy. In the spirit of your side channel rename, what drives you to create? When are you most fulfilled in creating? I think the best kind of content that I've created is the stuff that's built on wanting to connect with a viewer in like a profound way. That doesn't necessarily mean heavy content or negative content or sad content or anything, but the times that I've chosen to be honest and vulnerable, I think have net me the most fulfillment, and times that I know I've made content that I'm proud of and that I think whoever watches this will be better for watching it, or will be benefited in some way. There have been times in my content career that I've gotten too self-focused and too focused on my own success and the numbers, and forgetting that I'm just here to make something for you that you guys will like, and that you will have been positively impacted by spending your time with me. I want to do that more. I want that to be the baseline by which I decide how to make content. In light of that, I would just like to say thank you again for watching this, but also thank you for whatever amount of time you've spent with me, however way you've allowed me to be a part of your life. Did I already say this? Maybe I did. I want to say thank you again. I hope this answers some of your most pressing questions. And if you have any more, you can leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer a couple more in there. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And I'm very excited about the future of this channel and other channels too. So buckle up. More interesting, unique stuff coming. More vlog. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much for your questions. I would like to do more chatty stuff with you guys. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for a potential podcast announcement, but you didn't hear from me. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.